Hello there, welcome or welcome back to some more Vagrus adventures. In this horrible but beautiful wasteland. Last time I got to Arcane, explored the town a little, and had a lovely chat with the constant sculptor. He's a really nice fellow, despite being sentient skeleton. I hope I can help him become complete at some point. Now, I think I'm going to check out this Levantius the Burdened, and then see where I can go from here. I don't think I want to look for monsters just yet. And speaking of moving on, let me show you something that I just figured out. We open the map here and zoom out a little bit just so you can see. You see this little eye icon over here? If I click this, it actually shows you all the different tasks and passengers that you can take from the settlement you're in. I think it's a really neat option to show you where you can go based on what you can undertake. It's a different kind of planning. Anyway, this is the same setup as it was with the last supply run. I have 4 empty spaces, which is usually good for 2 of these supply runs, if they're going to the same place. So right now, I'm thinking going back to Torzak's shelter, and then maybe back and forth a little bit between Arcane and Torzak's, or maybe try to branch out a little bit. Maybe see what Lumen's all about. Not sure. What I am sure about is that currently we cannot go south. So this is the only place for us at this point of the game. We just have to see. So, speak with Levantius at his place on Sealthwaite Street. Sealthwaite Street, that actually sounds a little familiar. Let me check real quick. Oh, right. I had this quest going on. Yeah, when I was leaving Torzak's shelter, there was that bureaucrat, tax official, I think it was tax official, who gave me a letter to bring to Levantius. Okay, so I actually don't want to skip this. Let's see. Sealthwaite Street dozes sleepily under the hot daytime sun, fragrant with the sharp, bitter odor of tobacco and bogweed, sold by a multitude of vendors here. As you make your way to the 3-storied white building where Levantius dwells, you are offered all kinds of baccy, I don't know what that word is, incense, reefers, pipes, hookahs and the like. Okay, so some kind of recreational stuff. Gotcha. Materials and accessories for the connoisseurs of recreational smoking. Of course. You dismiss the merchants. You are here for a different reason. Enter the lodging house where Levantius resides. Nice cheekbones. The ground floor of the building is occupied by yet another tobacco shop, the owner of which simultaneously serves as the landlord for a handful of tiny rooms she rents out for those who look for long-term yet temporary stay in Arcane. The Tarkian woman doesn't seem to care too much for confidentiality, or for the safety or the privacy of her guests, as she immediately and without a question points you to the uppermost floor when you ask for Levantius. Ascending a ladder, you come to what is basically the rooftop covered by a large tent and rickety septums to add a few more bedrooms to the building. In one of the more spacious ones, you find a young, dark-haired slender fellow dressed in a tunic, wearing half-moon glasses and bent over a shaky desk he improvised from small crates, a traveling chest, and various ledgers. "Need neither smoke, nor food, nor wine, nor women," he mutters without looking at you as he hears you enter, busy with his calculations. "Not now, not later, not ever. I'm sure I already mentioned that." "Maybe, but not to me." "I'm told you might need this," you say, waving the letter you were giving to deliver. "Straight from the Magistrate of Tax Collection in Torzak's shelter. If you are Levantius, that is." That seems to pique his interest. The young man looks at you, his face suggesting sharp wit, his eyes probing. "I am," he replies. "I am indeed. And you are?" You introduce yourself and hand him the letter. Finally, things do seem to move along. What an utterly unexpected surprise, he mumbles to himself. "Ah, and thank you." He unfolds the letter and starts to read immediately. Then, without looking up, he adds absently, "Pleased to meet you, of course." Then, within an instant, he seems to forget you're even there. At first, he reads eagerly, but after a few moments, an expression of jaded disappointment appears on his face. "Splendid. Just splendid." He sighs, then goes on sputtering. "Now there's the Imperial bureaucracy in full swing, as I know it. Reliably incompetent as ever. Good job, you cretins, top of the line indeed. Would that you encountered the Slerad bull during mating season and..." You demonstratively clear your throat. Levantius looks up once again, slightly irritated. "You are still here," he states matter of fact. "Was there something you wanted?" Then he remembers. "But of course, I am to pay you the fee for delivery. Forgive me, it's just that I have a lot on my mind, and this piece of moronic writing clearly didn't help to diminish any of it. But that's not your fault, is it now?" After rummaging, he finds a coin and gives it to you. A coin. One single coin. That better not be a changer. "Thank you again. You've certainly traveled far to bring me this." Then a thought seemed to cross his mind. "Okay, you gave me a lyric. You may leave another day." "Say, friend," he continues while he examines you pensively, "am I right to assume that you are quite a traveler?" You and Levantius nod at the same time, as he is answering his own question. "Of course," he says. "Would you care to take me with you as a passenger, in case you have plans to visit Lumen anytime soon? For a more than fair compensation, of course. As it turns out," he waves at the letter he just received from you, "I must leave Arcane earlier than expected and return to my employer." Well, I didn't really have plans on where to go. And Lumen is pretty close. But you better pay me. Tell him that only if the price is right. Somehow, I doubt he has too much money to spare. Otherwise, he wouldn't be using crates for desks. But let's try. Levantius relaxes a bit before sputtering on. "Good, thank you. At least that's one problem out of the way. I shall give you an advance for your troubles right now. The rest you will receive from my employer, Mistress Candake, as soon as we arrive. Just let me gather my things and cancel my stay here with that weed-breathing hag downstairs. I promise not to be a burden." A 5 changer. Not much, but alright. However, what that means is that because he's a passenger now, I'm gonna need one more fighter to be fully defended. I might as well take care of that. Okay. Looks alright. I already did the daily exploration here. Okay, you know what? I'm just the tiniest bit curious about what kind of beast could be out here. Not gonna hunt it, of course, but let's just see. Walking through the dusty streets of Arcane, you come upon a time crier announcing various news of general interest, such as current marble prices and open job opportunities. One of these catches your ear, and let it be known that Harmon the Herder is willing to grant a substantial reward to anyone brave enough to go after the vile beast haunting the outskirts of our fair city. The man can be found at his lodgings near the main gate. From what you can see, not a lot of folks are interested. Maybe here's a chance to line your purse. Yeah, not at the moment. I think I should have at least a Hunt's Master to have decent chances, I imagine. So with that, nothing really keeps me here anymore. And if I'm going to Lumen anyway, okay, there is one. That's gonna be this task right here. Oh, wait, here's another. That's interesting. Because here you can clearly see that there's two. And here's one. And here's also two. But for some reason, you can only see one. In Lumen, interesting. Not that it really matters too much to me. Let's see, 16 marble. That is still two full stacks. Let's take it. And take this one. Yeah, marble runs seem to be the main thing from here. Okay. Nothing else. Then let's get a move on. Okay, so Lumen is technically 3 to 4 days of travel. In a straight line, right? So obviously, I'm not gonna go this way, because that's a disaster waiting to happen. Let's move down here a little bit. Yeah, let's skirt the Arcoros forest. Like so. Oh, and since I used up all my insight to increase resourcefulness, I now have access to Traverse, which turns march points into movement points. So I'm out of movement points, but have some march. And if I'm correct, then instead of using march points, which gives penalty to vigor, if I use this right now, reallocate 3 march to regular movement points, costs 4 resourcefulness and can be done every 3 days. Oh, okay, so once every 3 days. That's still about 1 node's worth of extra push. I can live with that. Oh, I see. So it's not a one-time thing. I literally turned march points into movement points. And it's going to stay on. I wonder if that means that my resourcefulness is not going to regenerate, because it's still technically on. Very interesting. Ah, okay, I see Lumen right here. Gonna camp here. And I have enough fighters just for the extra guarding. That is perfect. Yeah, still not gonna bother with this. Okay, and you are... Okay, I have still 14 days of contract with you. I should keep this in mind, since her being supercargo is the reason I have as much cargo space as I do. If she leaves on the move, I'm going to lose 1 entire stack. I hope the game lets me decide what I would need to throw out. We shall see. Okay. Oh, Traverse does only last for 1 day. Okay then, wasn't really expecting that. Right, got 2 movement points. How much to scout? Okay, that would need march points. Maybe next time? Okay, let's try it like this. There is a decent chance that I would lose some scouts, but they are pretty cheap to come by. One supply, of course. Okay. Okay, why does this suddenly cost so much movement points? I think I mostly forgot what the tutorial said about scouting. I will work it out some other time. Okay, I don't think, as long as you have enough fighters, there is ever any reason to not post extra guards. Okay, let's get obedience up some more. Okay, and now Lumen is just one step too far away, so I'm gonna use traverse here. Like this. Just enough to get into Lumen. Wait a moment. Yeah, since this only costs me 10 movement. If I want to be extra efficient, I should just use it here. Ooh, look at that. Critical success with hunting. Almost half a stack of supplies. And some beast fangs. How does that look with cargo space? Yeah, okay, looks like anything extra you gain that doesn't fit in the hoard just gets tossed out automatically. Good to know. But still, almost kept all my supplies. That's pretty nice. Time to go to Lumen. I have a vague suspicion that I know why this town is called that, judging from all these crystals around. Let's go then. Oh wow. Looks like the whole place is built into the ground. Kinda like an ant nest. That's pretty sweet. Those persistent enough to travel towards the blinding light and scorching heat of the South Colerus eventually reach the town of Lumen and glimpse its sandstone buildings protected by its shielding wall. Yet, most of the settlement was built under the sands, shattered from the lethal temperatures and unbearable shine of the surface. At night, brigades of prospectors flood the steel-searing crystal forest to get their hands on as rich a bounty as they can, hauling it back to Lumen's bustling underground markets. Apart from imperial crystal harvesting, the town is famous for its resident crystalmancers, ever delving into the secrets of the Colerus. You know, my first question would be how long Lumen has been here as a town? And from that the second question would be, do these crystals grow back? Because I imagine if they come out here every day, even if you consider the size difference, like if this is a door, then all these crystals are just massive. But still, in a couple decades you would clear out all of these. I wonder what their plan is for that. Maybe keep moving the entire town. Oh well. So first things first. Let's turn these in. bonus rep for being fast. Good for me. Okay, there are only escort quests, which I will not take, because I don't want to fight. Everything else needs reputation that I don't have. Okay, so that kind of settles it. I think I'm going to go back to Torzak's shelter. If I can. I think I'm gonna have to stock up on supplies for that. Try to follow the road. There's a quarry here. Maybe they have some supplies? It's either that or straight back to Arcane, because I know that's just 4 days. We shall see. Okay, do I want to sell the marble here? It is a pretty nice price. Okay, how was the marble's price in Torzak's? Oh, that is even better than here. I think I can hold on to this one stack here. Should be good. And obviously, I should take 1 stack of these crystals, since these are the main export here. Right. Let's trade news real quick. Eight slaves back to Arcane. That is quite the extra people count. It doesn't really pay enough to be worth it with the extra consumption, so no thanks. Let's see about this rumor. A strange store. People gossip about a strange little shop in Sunrock, cut into the rock face of a frequented plaza, run by an odd being. Nobody seems to agree on the creature's origin and looks though. They say it sells curious goods and rare treasures. I like the sound of that. There was also this jewelry shop in Devon, but that's a little ways away. Okay, so where is this Sunrock? Have I heard about it? Oh, there it is. Sunrock. It's not too far away, but I would rather just stay around the roads. For now, at least. But still, something to keep in mind. Okay, supplies full. Let's rest before I forget. Okay, gonna pay now. maybe get a little bit of extra rations just to make sure nutrition is good. Maybe I deserve a little extra nutrition. Yeah, I kinda do, I think. We only live once, as they say. Alright then. Refreshed news. Refreshed ourselves. Okay, nothing has changed. Now let's do what we came here for. Candake the Distraite. Escort Levantius to his mistress. Levantius leads you to the underground vaults of Lumen, where his employer resides on a somewhat secluded street. You come to a huge bolted door to which a piece of parchment is fastened. Enter at your own peril. That's kinda true to literally every private property, so I don't think there's much need for an actual notice, but sure, if you want. That's just for keeping the undesirables away, Levantius explains as he quickly pushes a few hidden panels and opens the door. Mistress Candake entertains herself with some rather unorthodox experiments, true, but the greatest danger here is the harrowing effect her extraordinary messiness might have on more organized minds. You'll see. Also, maybe a kind of a mad scientist sort of deal? I can vibe with that. As soon as you step inside, you can see that he was right. The interior of the vast workshop is a veritable labyrinth of scrolls, books, slates, shelves, chests, workbenches, alembics, minerals, unidentifiable tools, and other apparatus. That's a lot of stuff. That must be quite a big place. Which would mean she has quite a bit of funding. Amidst astrolabes and braziers on chains, a complete skeleton of what must have been a crow egg hangs from the ceiling. A prominently placed display stand is full of reptilian bones and scales of various sizes and colors. Drawing boards feature sketches of leathery wings, claws, fangs, vertebrae, skulls, and other anatomical parts of, there's no doubt about that, dragons. Okay, are you looking to kill a dragon, or are you looking to make a dragon? I feel like that's gonna be important to know going forward. You almost jump when suddenly, from amidst the chaos, a thin ghost-like apparition emerges and passes by you. It is a pale middle-aged woman, not unprepossessing in her strangeness, dressed wholly in white with short hair of the same color. Levantius, you are home? She asks in a high singing voice without looking at either of you or stopping for even a moment. That would be Mistress Candake, says Levantius with resignation. Oh, nice facial features, ma'am. Really gives the mad scientist vibes. I approve. Levantius matches her steps and signals you to come along. An accurate observation, as always, Domina, he sputters. I would supplement it, if I may, with the addendum that I am, in fact, 2 months early, thanks to our highly esteemed contacts and the Magistratum of Tax Collection. Not that I'd presume to bog you down with such minute details, I just thought it would be in order to inform you. Good work, Levantius, good work, Candake replies while opening a drawer and examining its contents with a frown. And our guest, also from the magistratum? You didn't think she even noticed you. Levantius clears his throat. No, Domina, he says. This here is the wayfarer who was kind enough to escort me from Arcane. Candake nods and hums. Levantius clears his throat again. For a fee, as is usual, he adds pointedly. Oh yes, quite, his mistress says, opening another drawer and offering a bulging pouch heavy with coin in your general direction. Nice of you to bring back Levantius. He is so lost sometimes. I wonder how he'll manage when we're finally out there. You can tell Levantius had ample time to practice how to keep his composure. 3 lirg. That's not too bad. Good that you mention it, Domina, he smiles politely. It occurred to me while traveling with our new friend here that, inept as I am, it would be feasible to seek further assistance in our endeavors, for which a possible candidate is practically right at hand. Candake regards the two of you with beady eyes. You mean to suggest to hire the Vagrus? She asks. Levantius smiles even more politely. That was indeed the gist of my words, Domina. Candake gives this a thought, then shrugs. Of course, why not? Then she turns to you, although her gaze is directed somewhere behind your back. Do you seek employment? I have coin. Weighing the pouch she just gave to you, as if it was nothing you have. Weighing the pouch she just gave to you, as if it was nothing, you have no doubt of that. Okay, having an employer sounds nice. If I knew exactly who you were. Let's go into the specifics a little bit. What kind of employment? At first, Candake doesn't seem to understand the question, as if it was baffling to her that somebody possibly couldn't know what her work consists of. Then the realities of the situation dawn on her. Oh, yes, good question. The sign of a keen mind, she says. Very important in our line of work, about which I am currently not in the position to disclose too much. It's still in the planning phase, you see. But let's just say I am planning an expedition to one of the more inhospitable corners of our realms, for which I'll need supplies, equipment and a few other things, some of which are not so easy to come by. And trusty Levantius can only do so much. Levantius' smile seems to be glued to his face, but he shifts his eyes erratically. So, Candake continues, are you interested in fetching me a few things as I make my plans and the need arises? For coin? Well, if it's only fetching stuff, I can do that, sure. Ooh, gain 2 insight. Wonderful, Candake says with a radiant smile. I am looking forward to work with you. With that, she turns away and disappears quickly in the maze that is her workshop. You give Levantius a quizzical look. I know, he shrugs. The mistress tends to be preoccupied with less worldly matters. But don't let that deter you. She is brilliant, otherwise I would not suffer her whimsies. And wealthy. That, of course, is also an important factor. As for your work, right now we are in a bit of a disarray, but if you return sometime later, we will surely have some errands for you to run. If I can get her to focus, that is. Leaving the strange workshop, you can't help but wonder what you've gotten yourself into. Good question. What does the journal say? Bring all kinds of goods and items to Candake in Lumen until she has everything she needs for her project. Okay, can we check right away? Candake is eager to speak to you, while Levantius stands next to her with slate and stylus in hand, looking only slightly tortured. "Let's get some work done, shall we?" she says in her melodic voice, her zigzagging gaze scanning horizons far beyond the narrow confines of the workshop. Okay, ask her what she needs you to fetch her for the project. "Let me see," Candice says, biting her lips. "Ah yes, pottery, that's what we need. For cooking. And for the experiments," Levantius reminds her. "But of course, I was coming to that. For cooking and for experiments. So make it a lot. And don't forget the slime grass." "But you didn't say anything about slime grass before," her assistant says derisively. "Also for the experiments," Candice explains curtly, avoiding to look either of you in the eye. An awkward silence ensues. To ease the tension, you promise to procure everything and leave. Okay, bring Candice 45 pottery and 15 slime grass. "45 pottery and 15 slime grass. Let's see." Okay, pottery is 15 units per stack, so that is 3 full stacks. And I don't even know where slime grass comes from. That might be a problem. The question is, can I give those items one at a time? Or do I need to have all of them and give them at once? Because if I can give just the pottery, that could save me a little bit of trouble. For now, I think I'm just gonna be on the lookout for slime grass. I imagine that's gonna be 15 per stack. But if the name is any indication, that's gonna be somewhere like a swamp or some underground reservoir where they can grow the thing. Okay, let's do some general inquiries. Ask locals about the town and its surroundings. It is a characteristically hot day in Lumen. The gigantic canvas wall designed to shelter the town from the constantly emitted high temperature of the nearby South Colerus only manages to fend off the worst of the scorching heat. The air is still sweltering, almost searing your skin. Accordingly, the streets are largely empty, as during the day most of the townsfolk seek shelter in their dwellings, in the expansive underground tunnels. Only a few merchants and their servants loiter around the marketplace, huddled under the shade of awnings and parasols. Let's talk to the merchants. A half-naked, chubby man regards you lazily while sipping something from a water skin. 2 slaves fan him with large sheets of linen. From his tattoos and a small banner hanging limply from the awning above him, you conclude that he must belong to House Oko, a collective of miners and prospectors. "You must be out of your mind standing out there in the open like that," the man accosts you in an amused tone. "Not from around these parts, are you?" "No, I am not." "So, what can you tell me about the Crystal Forests?" Surely you saw it while approaching Lumen. The one in the vicinity of Lumen is called the South Colerus and yields the finest blue crystals in the whole of the Empire, except for maybe Sargot Kala. The Kalari are dangerous places. Apart from the crystal creatures roaming their labyrinthine pathways, they constantly reflect the light and the heat of the sun, concentrating and enhancing them to lethal levels. Even during the hours of dawn and dusk, One can only venture there in special protective equipment, black glass goggles and absorbing reflective head blankets for beasts of burden and other animals. And that's not all. For even thus equipped, one will need an enchanted shielding crystal, the good sorcerer on one's team, to cast a constant protective aura to block the heat. You ask the trader about the other crystal forest north of the South Colerus. Oh, the North Colerus is a different story. Crystal there is of lesser quality and all sorts of weird critters wander its confines. I see. And what practical use do these crystals have? Crystals are the raw materials of diverse and manifold uses. They can be carved and shaped to produce tools and weapons, but the rarer ones can be enchanted. For example, to store light or magical energy. They are a valuable resource, well worth the risk of venturing into the crystal forests. But that is mostly the ceruleus crystal, you see, the blue one. Flavo, the yellow one, is quite worthless in comparison. But, well, it does have its own uses, I suppose. Elsewise, nobody would bother harvesting it at the Flavo Colerus out west, am I right? Okay, ask what he can tell you about the crystal forests. It's the same. Ask him where one can acquire such protective gear. Goggles for crew and covers for animals are easy. You can simply buy them right here in Lumen, in the marketplace if you have the coin. He indicates the stall with a wave of his meaty hand. The shielding crystal required to cast a protective aura is trickier. They are highly in demand, relatively rare, and also must be imbued magically by a competent crystalmancer. Right now, there is a shortage of them in Lumen, but if you are interested in getting your hands on one, you should consult with Shebenni. She is a local crystalmancer dwelling in an underground vault not far from the marketplace, and is currently looking for someone to accomplish a task for her, if I heard correctly. Interesting, smells like a job opportunity. Ask him what kind of business he conducts around here. I was right. You are not from around here, he smiles. Why, I'm in the same business as mostly everybody else around here. Crystals. Harvesting, buying, selling, processing them. That and the various logistical challenges associated with them. House Okwo, Betvios, and, to some extent, the damned Darius folks are all in the crystal business. A dangerous but rewarding enterprise. I see. Oh, got 2 insight for gaining 10 new codex entries. Okay, now we can visit the Crystalmancer's vault. And he said... Okay, where did I get this ivory from? Wait, is this that one ivory that I got from hunting? Because it didn't show up since I had full stacks. I just assumed that was dropped automatically. Huh. And I can't even sell that here. Very interesting. But anyway, what I was trying to see was this. Got the awnings, got the storage, got the tools. Blinders and combat saddles. This is for combat. Don't need it. Ah, here it is. Colerus protection gear. Dark goggles for your crew and absorbing blankets for your beasts. These will protect your comitatus from going blind in a Colerus. You also need a working heat shielding crystal to survive in a Colerus. Okay, and so since it looks like old equipment doesn't have weight, you can just buy these and keep them if you have ever need of them. Interesting. Pretty pricey though. Okay, hunting animals would be nice, and they also go into a miscellaneous slot, which I do have, but it needs beast lore, and I don't think Rank Island has any beast lore. But maybe I can give him some. Well, if I am going to give beast lore to some, I might as well get a Venatoris, I think. That would make more sense. I probably should just keep Ren as the Scoutmaster and nothing more. Yeah, I think I'm gonna stay the way I am with equipment. You know, I don't really want to take any combat quests, but I do wonder. This one says potential combat encounters 1, so maybe if you're good enough at scouting you can actually avoid going to the node where there is that combat encounter, and you can just do this without conflict. Not sure. But I'm not really keen on figuring that out. Okay, let's take a look at you. You descend into the underground vaults of Lumen and seek out the laboratory of Shebani the Crystalmancer. You find it soon enough. Ah, she doesn't look half bad. Kinda has a fortune teller vibe to her, with all these adornments. The workshop is situated in a small artificial cave somewhat further from the thoroughfare, and is easily recognizable by the faint shimmer that emanates from its entrance. As you step inside, you find yourself face to face with a middle-aged woman sitting on a pile of cushions and tinkering with a scale and some kind of glittering dust in the midst of a cluttered laboratory. Her dark hair and fair complexion, along with deep blue robe and tall stature, give her an air of nobility and sophistication. "Have you come to seek my services?" she asks in calm, dulcet tones. You tell her you have. You ask her if indeed she is able to provide the crystal needed for the shield magic against the heat of the crystal forests. "I might be able to," Shebani nods. "But of course there is a price, and this time it is not measured in coins. I'm in need of a very specific item, you see. To obtain it is difficult and most likely perilous. Are you still interested?" Okay, if I say I am, are you going to give me a time limit? Let's say I am interested. "Great," she says with a smile. "As you might know, there is a multitude of different crystals in existence, amazingly varied in size, shape, color, structure, magical potential, and rarity. The one I am currently looking for is one of the purest white. No, not the one you ask for. That I have already here, and I will enchant it for you if you bring me what I need. No matter how many coins you offer to her, Shebani is adamant that only in exchange for the rare white specimen will she enchant your shielding crystal. This pure white crystal is extremely rare, and to my knowledge can only be found in and around Lumen, with any kind of consistency. But who knows? Lumen is a crystal forest on the border of the Jagged Waste and Arena's Vorax to the north. You ask her how it is possible to enter a crystal forest without the very protection you are after. Shebani smiles. That's the interesting part. You needn't go inside Lumen itself, but underneath it. The area is infested with Irg, and for whatever reason, these creatures have been known to hoard crystals in their lair from time to time. If you manage to find the lair, you stand a good chance to obtain such a crystal. You inquire if this means fighting the creatures. Not necessarily, Shebani replies as she plays with a tuft of her black hair. Irg can be placated by an incense called damp smoke, concocted from the slime grass plant. I don't have any of that on me, but you should be able either to gather slime grass somewhere wet and humid, most likely in a swamp, yeah, I called it, or purchase damp smoke in any larger town such as Torzak's shelter, I suppose. Or you can take on the Irg with sheer force. The choice is entirely up to you. Do we have a deal? A pure white crystal for an enchanted heat shield. Interesting, so the game gives you the option of going the non-fighting way, even though it takes more time and money. That's appreciated. Okay, let's ask her about the Irg. I know little more than most. Irg are huge insects that live in hives and share a common consciousness. The ones you see being used as mounts or beasts of burden are rogue specimens, taken from their colonies by specialized hunters, then converted into docile animals by crystalmancy. You see, a small crystal with a mind-bending enchantment is embedded into an Irg's headplate, and thus they can be controlled by people. You inquire about what kind of a threat this hive under Lumen represents. I'm no warrior, Shebani says carelessly. I told you I'd avoid the confrontation using damp smoke if I were you. If it comes to a fight, well, you are up against angry, stubborn, chitin-armored drones the size of a horse. But that is not my concern. I provide the enchanted crystal. You deal with this any way you see fit. Do we have a deal? Yeah, sure. Let's accept her offer. Very well. Come back as soon as you have the white crystal. Meanwhile, I shall prepare the enchantment for your reward. Okay, you can take your time with that lady. Now, let's check. If I can, maybe pinpoint the location. So we got the Jagged Waste right here. She said Lumen. Oh, it's here, right here. Okay, it's close to Sunrock. So I would need that damp smoke. If I have that, I might go to Devon, then to Sunrock, and then a short trip down to Lumen. Okay, so it is entirely doable. Fine then. But I think I'm going to leave it here for today. Thanks for watching. If you like my misadventures, then please consider giving the video a like. And as always, I hope to see you in the next one. But until then, safe travels, Vagrus.